What's up, baby cakes? With MaXXXine coming out this week, I thought it'd be a great time for us to talk about a Giallo, what a Giallo film is. And the reason I say that is because director Ty West has said that a big portion of what MaXXXine is a Giallo film. Giallo is Italian for the word yellow. And that refers specifically to pulp novels from the 20s, 30s, and 40s that were popular in Italy. They had bright, vibrant colors, usually yellow, and how those types of stories have transitioned into film. So what is a Giallo? At its core, a Giallo is a serial unaliver who's usually unaliving beautiful women in very violent ways. Now that sounds like a slasher, but it is not, because there's aspects of the slasher that do not exist in a Giallo. And the big one is pace. A Giallo is a slow-paced film. You don't get unaliving every 7 minutes like you would normally get in a slasher. What makes Giallo so interesting is when you're watching the film, it is very lavish, beautifully shot, high quality production. In every Giallo, the unaliver will be wearing black gloves. That's just part of it. The unalivings, brutal unalivings, often happen from the POV of the actual unaliver. There's also an aspect of voyeurism. You will see the unaliver stalking his or her prey from their point of view. Now you start to see that is something that's very common in movies like Friday the 13th and Halloween, because they took a lot of influence and inspiration from Giallo films. Other aspect of the Giallo is someone is trying to unravel the mystery. Sometimes it's law enforcement, sometimes it's a writer or a journalist, and sometimes it's just someone random who's been involved in the story. That's the Scooby-Doo aspect of it, is that you have a mystery, you have unalivings happening, they're violent, and someone's trying to uncover it. Now that seems pretty clear cut in its scripting, correct? It's not, because the aesthetic is what is most important in a Giallo. And if the story gets in the way of the aesthetic, then the director just does what they want for the film. So you'll see some surreal moments sometimes, some logic holes sometimes, weird decisions from the characters. It's not important. It's just part of what it is to be a Giallo film. And there are a couple different approaches. Mario Bava is really the person who is kind of known for starting it. He had a film come out in '63, and that was, I think, the real start. But Blood and Black Lace is the movie that really kickstarted the Giallo subgenre. There's a lot of other directors who have jumped in the fray: Lucio Fulci, Dario Argento, Umberto Lenzi. Any known Italian director, it seems like, that was working in the 70s, dipped their toe into the Giallo space because they were popular in Italy and they were popular here too. They were a great export for Italy in the 70s. Dario Argento came along and added an impressionistic vibe to the Giallo space by splashing scenes with color for no reason. It didn't make sense in the actual set. He just wanted that color for the visceral impact, for the emotional impact the color would give to the audience. Back to MaXXXine. We can look at MaXXXine in the trailer and we know there's a detective trying to solve a series of unalivings. We get an image of a gloved hand with a weapon, which is part of the Giallo genre. And then we get plenty of shots of MaXXXine herself drenched in red light, which is so precisely Argento. I think the Vice Squad aspect of it, the sort of 80s LA sleaze movies aspect of it, is going to keep this thing from being slow paced. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Ty West integrates all of this classic Giallo into this film. And I think it's going to be amazing.